When you first look at Pieter Bruegel, The Elders, the Harvesters, you see golden wheat fields stretching toward the horizon, peasants resting under a pear tree with bread and jugs of beer, children playing in the distance. It feels like a celebration. High summer in 16th century Flanders, the earth offering up its abundance. But Bruegel never painted simple celebrations. Look closer, and this harvest scene begins to reveal something darker. Warnings about indulgence, mortality, and the precarious line between plenty and spiritual emptiness. Bruegel completed The Harvesters in 1565 as part of a series depicting the months of the year, commissioned by the wealthy Antwerp merchant Nicolaas Jongelink. Of the original 6 panels, 5 survive today, each capturing the rhythm of seasonal labour in the Flemish countryside. This painting represents late summer, probably August, when wheat reached its peak and entire communities mobilized for the harvest. The composition sweeps your eye from the intimate lunch scene in the foreground, down through golden fields to a hazy village beyond, using atmospheric perspective to create remarkable depth. Bruegel was among the first northern artists to fully master this technique, borrowed from Italian Renaissance innovations, but adapted with distinctly Flemish precision. Yet beneath the technical mastery lies something more unsettling. That massive pear tree dominating the left side of the painting isn't just providing shade. In Renaissance symbolism, pears carried associations with sensuality and earthly pleasure. Art historians like Erwin Panofsky have noted how the women gathering fallen pears evoke that original temptation, the moment when abundance became humanity's downfall. Look at the tree itself. Withered branches, gnarled bark, signs of decay, even as fruit hangs heavy. It's a memento mori disguised as bounty, suggesting how easily pleasure curdles into corruption. And then there's the sleeping figure sprawled beneath the tree, his empty jug tipped beside him. While his companions eat moderately and prepare to return to work, he's collapsed into drunken oblivion. This is sloth personified, one of the 7 deadly sins, presented not as allegory, but as documentary realism. The contrast is deliberate. 3 men and 3 women sharing a balanced meal versus 1 man who has surrendered entirely to excess. Bruegel offers no overt judgment, but the visual rhetoric speaks clearly. The Book of Proverbs warns repeatedly against laziness, praising the diligent worker while condemning those who sleep through the harvest. Here that biblical teaching takes human form. The painting's religious dimension extends beyond individual morality. In the far background, almost hidden among trees, a church steeple rises, but it's pushed to the margins, nearly obscured. This subtle displacement carries weight. Bruegel painted during an era of violent religious upheaval. The Protestant Reformation had fractured Christian unity. Iconoclasts were destroying church art across the Netherlands, and Flanders itself groaned under repressive Spanish Catholic rule. By relegating the church to the background, while foregrounding human labour and earthly cycles, Bruegel reflects faith's uncertain place in daily life. He doesn't openly critique. That would have been dangerous. But the composition itself raises questions about what truly sustains human existence. Bruegel brought an unusual perspective to peasant life. Though educated and connected to Antwerp's intellectual circles, he reportedly disguised himself as a commoner to observe rural festivals and weddings, sketching villagers in their natural element. This immersion produced something revolutionary, genre painting that treated ordinary people with the dignity previously reserved for saints and nobles. His peasants aren't idealized or romanticized. They're thick-bodied, ruddy-faced, caught in ungraceful poses, sleeping with mouths open, bending awkwardly under sheaves of wheat. Those distant swimmers, stripped naked in a pond, they evoke the vulnerability of souls at final judgment, when all pretense falls away and each life is weighed against its deeds. A partridge perches in the pear tree, a bird that carried contradictory symbolic weight in medieval bestiaries, sometimes representing Christ, sometimes cunning deception. Even the landscape itself functions symbolically. The painting ultimately offers a meditation on mortality disguised as pastoral celebration. Yes, the harvest is abundant. Yes, the community shares its bounty. But decay lurks in the withered pear tree, spiritual danger in the sleeping drunk, divine judgment in those distant naked swimmers. The marginalized church suggests that institutional faith may not protect us, that we're thrown back on individual moral choices. Will we labor diligently or succumb to sloth? Will we consume moderately or drink ourselves into oblivion? Will we acknowledge life's brevity or pretend the golden hour lasts forever? One final detail rewards attention. The sleeping man's foot extends forward, breaking the picture plane, almost intruding into our space. It's a subtle gesture that draws viewers into the scene, suggesting we're not observing from safe distance, but participating in this moral drama. Bruegel seems to ask, which figure are you? The diligent worker returning to the fields? The moderate eater balancing pleasure and responsibility? Or the drunk sleeping through the harvest, squandering your brief moment of abundance? The harvesters endures because it refuses simple interpretation. It celebrates earthly labor while warning against earthly attachment. Bruegel painted a harvest, but what he harvested was human nature itself. Our capacity for both diligence and indulgence, our tendency to forget death, our need to find significance in the cyclical work that fills our days. The wheat will be cut, bundled, consumed. Next year, the cycle repeats. The question Bruegel poses is what we do with our portion while it lasts.